At a time of massive and unprecedented income and wealth inequality, Republicans look around them and say, wow, we got 3 people owning more wealth than the bottom half of American society. Very richest people are becoming phenomenally richer. Working people are struggling. What's the solution? Well, obviously the solution is to give massive tax breaks to the rich and make a very bad situation even worse.
What's going on, Patriots? Welcome back to the channel. I just stumbled across a clip that I had to bring you immediately. We've all watched Bernie Sanders do the same routine for decades now. The finger wagging, the shouting about the 1%, the same recycled socialist speech he's been giving since the Cold War. It's predictable, it's tired, and it's completely disconnected from how the real world actually works. But today, Bernie ran headfirst into a brick wall named Bernie Moreno. If you're not familiar with Moreno, here's what matters. He's not a career politician, he's a businessman. He actually lived the American dream instead of lecturing others about it. And in this congressional hearing, he doesn't just disagree with Bernie Sanders, he dismantles the entire tax the rich narrative using something Washington hates: logic, math, and real-world experience. This is one of those rare moments where someone speaks truth to power inside Congress and doesn't blink. Pay close attention to how Moreno uses his background as a car dealer to expose the absolute hypocrisy behind the so-called Inflation Reduction Act. Trust me, you're going to want to see this. Roll the clip.
It is apparently not good enough that the top 1% today own more wealth than the bottom 90%. That is rather phenomenal. But in my Republican colleagues' eyes, the wealthy and the powerful need even more help. 1% owning more wealth than the bottom 90%, just not good enough. We can do better than that. So not only should the very wealthy be asked to pay their fair share of taxes, the Republicans believe that we should give huge tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires.
I think we need to kind of go back in time for just a little bit, not quite as much as in Back to the Future. Let's just go back to 2020. There was an election in 2020. The Democrats gained control of the Senate and the White House. And what's been the result? During the 4 years of President Trump, his first term, it was never better for working class Americans. Real wage growth grew. The middle class was doing better. Our economy was doing fantastic. The Republicans had passed the TCJA, which gave tax relief to all Americans. And we received, and this is very important, the federal government received a record amount of revenue. So even though there was tax cuts for the wealthy was the headline. By the way, that line is as old as dirt, and it's totally false. While the tax rates were cut, tax revenue was at a record level. It would be fascinating if there was just one Democrat that acknowledged that we received a record amount of revenue in the federal coffers. You think to yourself, well, wait a second. Like, I'm a business guy. Like, if my revenue was at an all-time high and I was losing money, I'd say we have a huge expense problem. Like, oh my God, how can I get record revenue and yet have record deficits? Why? Because when you give Democrats control of our budget, what happens? I'll give you some examples. When my colleagues talk about how they defend the working class, I think the working class spoke pretty clearly on November 5th of 2024 and said, thank you, but no thank you. So what can happen in my old world of owning car dealerships? Mr. Chairman, you could walk into one of my dealerships, be a multi-millionaire, pick out a beautiful custom-made Rolls-Royce Spectre where the audio system upgrade is $21,000. The logoed headrest in the back seat are $1,500. The umbrella with a logo could be 10 grand. You can lease that car. And thanks to the amazing and remarkable policies from the Democrat Party, the federal government will give you a check for $7,500. Think about that for just a second. That is a bill that became law called the Inflation Reduction Act, giving Rolls-Royce lease customers $7,500 lowers inflation, and every one of them voted for that bill. How did that bill become law, you ask? Did it get 60 votes? Rigorous debate? No. They did it through reconciliation. And Kamala Harris broke the tie-breaking vote so that multi-millionaires could have their fifth vehicle parked in Palm Beach with a check for $7,500 thanks to the U.S. taxpayer.
Boom, that's how it's done. Did you catch Bernie Sanders' face? He was not expecting a math lesson today. Here's what drives me crazy about the socialist agenda. Bernie and his allies love to talk about fair share and wealth inequality because it sounds great in a soundbite. But Moreno immediately dragged the conversation back to reality. He reminded everyone what actually happened during the Trump years when taxes were cut and government got out of the way. The middle class benefited. Real wages grew. People kept more of their own money. Then Moreno dropped the truth bomb. Washington refuses to admit tax cuts didn't reduce revenue. Federal tax revenue hit record highs afterward. Why? Because when the economy grows, businesses expand, people earn more, and the government still gets paid. Prosperity isn't a zero-sum game unless you're a socialist. But the best part, hands down, was the Rolls-Royce example. Think about this irony. The same Democrats who claim to be champions of the working class passed the Inflation Reduction Act, a bill that gives a $7,500 tax credit to millionaires leasing luxury electric vehicles. Moreno explained it perfectly. Someone can walk into his dealership, lease a Rolls-Royce Spectre complete with a $10,000 umbrella, and Kamala Harris cast the tie-breaking vote to subsidize it. That umbrella costs more than some Americans' first cars. That's not helping working families. That's a scam. That's corporate welfare disguised as green energy, and Moreno called it out right to their faces. And this right here is why the working class walked away from the Democrats in 2024. People are done being lectured by career politicians who have never signed the front of a paycheck. They don't want ideology, they want results. They want growth. They want opportunity. The government's job isn't to redistribute wealth, it's to create the conditions where people can actually create wealth. Moreno didn't just win that exchange, he exposed exactly why the socialist experiment keeps failing. We need more voices in Washington who think like business owners, not sociology professors. What do you think? Did Moreno shut Bernie down, or what? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I especially want to hear your take on that Rolls-Royce example. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep fighting for the truth. I'll see you in the next one.